Listen to Remco's Baby Laugh a Lot.
Breaking news this afternoon, we're learning new details about the moments after family members reported Harley Dilly missing. The 14-year-old was last seen on the Friday before Christmas.
At a first glance, this channel really doesn't seem all that interesting. A young boy named Harley Dilly ran the account, often posting videos of his everyday life. His content ranged from video game playthroughs to the occasional live stream. Everything about Harley and the channel itself seemed completely ordinary. However, upon closer inspection, it becomes more and more clear that in the background, something wasn't quite right. And this finally became too apparent to ignore when, in December of the year 2019, the young Harley Dilly vanished off the face of the earth. Similar to many other kids his age, Harley had a fascination with video games, and so it would only make sense that this is what he posts to his YouTube channel. Gameplay ranging from Minecraft to Roblox. Over time, however, Harley began to show his viewers more and more glimpses into his everyday life. Although everything appeared entirely normal on the surface, some sharp-eyed viewers took note of the fact that Harley and his mother were fighting almost constantly.
My mom and I got into an argument because I didn't want to walk to school. Because I live like 4 blocks and it's like 34 degrees.
These familial fights would be referenced numerous times throughout various videos on his channel. Still, a teenage boy arguing with his mother isn't exactly shocking. After all, it happens every single day all over the world. However, in October of the year 2018, things would get much more serious. Harley would hold a now-deleted live stream that was titled simply, "I'm Scared."
My mom wanted me to go with her to go get a friend, and I said I don't want to. I have work to do, so I want to go home. We argued for about a good 5 minutes, and she snapped. She said she was gonna call police, and she said she already did, and she locked me out of the house. So right now I'm outside. Yep, the house is locked. I haven't ate anything, and I still haven't even got to get my work done. My mom's gone.
Within this stream, the young boy is locked out of his house in the cold, all for arguing with his mother. And if that weren't bad enough, the young boy had absolutely no food or water. Obviously, this isn't a very healthy dynamic between a 12-year-old and his mother. Even Harley himself seemed to sense that something very bad was coming this way when he said this.
Wish me good luck because the future could hold bad things for me.
Quite obviously, from watching these videos, viewers could see that the relationship between the 12-year-old and his mother was anything but functional. It would later be revealed, in fact, that Harley's mother had called the police on him numerous times throughout the years. Harley suffered from both ADHD and autism, 2 conditions that could highly influence behavior. It's important for parents of children with these conditions to remain patient and understanding. After all, these children are prone to outbursts that they simply cannot control. Therefore, it is up to the adult in the situation to actually act like an adult. However, instead of helping Harley with these conditions, his mother would often punish him instead. And this familial dysfunction extends beyond just the mother and son. In at least one video on Harley's channel, the father could be heard screaming at his wife and 4-year-old child. As time would pass, Harley would eventually create a new YouTube channel dubbed Harley Dilly 2.0. Here, the boy continued to post similar content to his first channel. On December 10th of the year 2019, Harley would post a Madden playthrough video which would ultimately prove to be his last ever. Following this, just 1 week later, Harley would complain of stomach pain and ask his mother if he could stay home from school. She refused, however, telling the young boy to get his ass to school. And so Harley left his home, on his way to his first class. But he would never arrive. By the time that night fell, Harley still hadn't made it back home. And it was an absolutely frigid evening as well, with the temperature being in the low teens. However, Harley's parents didn't report him as missing until the following morning.
But first, a heartbroken mother waiting for her missing son to walk back into her arms.
Tonight marks 7 days since the disappearance of 14-year-old Harley Dilly.
They definitely didn't seem over-concerned about the whereabouts of their son. Once morning arrived, though, in a now-deleted Facebook post, Harley's mother took to the internet to beg for help in finding her missing son. Unfortunately, though, weeks would pass with absolutely no sign of the missing young man. As time passed and the search effort continued, the story eventually became national news. And all of these new eyeballs upon the case would lead to more and more people discovering Harley's YouTube channel. This development led to people questioning the involvement of the parents in Harley's disappearance. People theorized that Harley had been being abused by his own family, or at the very least, neglected. And this theory was only amplified by the fact that the parents had waited so long to contact the authorities when Harley had first gone missing. On the other hand, however, a significant portion of people who were following the case believed that the boy had simply run away from home. After all, this would be the most logical conclusion. For their part, though, the authorities were at a complete loss. They had no idea what could have happened to the young man, but the events of January 13, 2020 would change all of that. On that fateful day, the authorities made the decision to search a vacant house not far from Harley's own home. Within this house, police discovered articles of clothing that belonged to Harley, including his jacket, sweatpants, and a single sock. It was obvious that at some point the missing boy had been inside of that empty house. However, when the authorities searched the rooms, there was still no sign of him. That is, until someone decided to look up the chimney. Trapped within the narrow shaft of the chimney was Harley's deceased body. It had been there all that time, silently decomposing. Coroners ruled the cause of death as compressive suffocation. This occurs when external compression of the body causes breathing to be prohibited. The authorities concluded that for some reason Harley wanted to get inside the vacant house, and the only way that he could was through the chimney. By utilizing a nearby electrical pole, Harley climbed to the roof and then attempted to slide down through the narrow opening of the chimney. Partway down, however, Harley became lodged inside. The police believe that the boy then shed his clothing in an attempt to give himself just a little more room. Obviously, however, this didn't work, and over the next few hours, the scared and helpless young boy slowly suffocated to death in that cold and empty house with no one around to hear his cries for help. It's a truly harrowing way to go. Although this is the official sequence of events put out by the authorities, there are many out there who simply do not believe it, maintaining to this day that Harley's parents somehow had to be involved in his death. It is undeniable that both the parents displayed strange behavior before, during, and after their son's disappearance. For example, only a week after his son had initially gone missing, Harley's father took out a life insurance policy on him. And this case is filled to the brim with these kind of strange little details. Ultimately, however, there is nothing concrete enough to suggest that this was anything but just a tragic accident. Watching Harley's channel now leaves you with a pit in your gut. It's strange knowing that you're watching the final months and days of someone's life play out before you. And it's this morbid fact that makes Harley's channel one of the most disturbing on YouTube.
Are about to witness the birth of a new world of darkness and evil.
As of the year 2022, YouTube boasts more than 51 million different channels. And out of those 51 million, 10 million of those have at least 1,000 subscribers or more. YouTube and other platforms like it have made it easier than ever before for the voiceless to have a voice. Now, this is unquestionably a great thing. After all, some truly amazing, life-altering content has been produced on this platform. Some mediocre content as well, aka me, but I digress. Anyway, within all of those competing voices, there's bound to be a few strange ones here and there. Some channels, however, go far beyond being merely strange, and these enter the territory of being actually disturbing. And those are the channels that we'll be covering today. So if you're a fan of true crime or just darker content in general, then buckle up and hit that subscribe button, because it's time to dive back into the muck. Way back on October 2nd of the year 2010, a truly bizarre video was posted to YouTube. The video in question was titled, "America, Your Last Memory in a Terrorist Country," and it boasted a 7-minute runtime. Within this video, a man wearing a mask and robe sets fire to the American flag, somewhere out in the middle of the desert. And the description of this video is just as nonsensical and strange as the actual images themselves. In part, this description reads, quote, "You shouldn't be afraid of the stars. There's a new bird on my right shoulder. The beak is 2 feet and lime green." So yeah, I'm sure you get the idea. The channel behind this strange video is known as Starbitsnas, and this particular video is the only one featured on the entire channel. However, the channel's creator was much more prolific with his other posts. The man behind the flag-burning video and owner of this strange channel was named Jared Lautner. Over the course of the year 2010, Jared would upload many odd and disjointed videos to the platform, and it was painfully clear to anyone actually watching these uploads that their creator wasn't exactly in the greatest mental state at the time of their creation. The themes of almost all of these videos were highly critical of the United States and its government. However, things weren't always this way. Jared grew up in Tucson, Arizona, and had a completely normal childhood, which saw him do well in school. Once high school rolled around, though, things began to change, and change for the worse. Jared's girlfriend, a young lady named Kelsey Hawkins, unexpectedly broke up with him. This event sent Jared spiraling down into a deep, dark depression. In an attempt to feel better, Jared eventually turned to drugs and alcohol, which, trust me, is never a good idea. And it wouldn't be long before Jared lost his part-time job over these issues. In the year 2006, Jared would drop out of school for good. Following this, the young man lived like a social pariah in his parents' home. All alone in his room, Jared would utilize the internet in order to dive deep into conspiracy theories and various forums supporting them. As so often is the case, the young man only became more and more radicalized over time. In particular, Jared's anger would focus and fixate upon the U.S. government. This leads us to the date of August 25, 2007. On that day, U.S. Senator Gabrielle Giffords held an event in the local Tucson area where normal citizens could come and address their issues directly to the senator herself. And of course, Jared would make sure to attend this event. Even got the chance to speak briefly to Gifford, where he asked her the eerie question, quote, "What is government if words have no meaning?" No one knows exactly what the senator said in response to this bizarre question, but within Jared's unhealthy mind, he felt that she brushed him off and had not taken his question seriously. Predictably, this perceived slight filled the young man with rage. Following this event, Jared would continue to stew in his anger towards the government, and this was only made worse when he received a letter from the office of Senator Gabrielle Giffords thanking him for attending the event. Unfortunately, upon that letter, Jared's last name had been misspelled. Now, this wouldn't be a big deal to most people, but to Jared it only reinforced his delusion that he was the last truly intelligent person left on Earth. Which brings us right back to the video of him burning the American flag. Here, Jared made his disdain for government known to every single person who clicked on that video. However, this was far from his most radical upload. In fact, just a few weeks prior to that, Jared had posted a far more outrageous video. Back then, Jared was attending Pima Community College, and although Jared was a high school dropout, this program, if completed, would eventually result in him obtaining a legitimate college degree. Now, you would think that this would be a great opportunity for the young man. However, throughout his time at the school, Jared had the authorities called on him no less than 5 separate times due to arguments with his teachers. On a currently deleted YouTube channel, Jared would post a video touring his school's campus at night, where he allowed all of his frustrations to boil up to the surface. Jared's various ramblings throughout the course of this video made it perfectly clear to anyone watching that he wasn't in the most healthy state of mind.
We're examining the torture of students. We are looking at students who have been tortured.
The young man was clearly very angry, with his country, with society, and just with the world in general. Somehow, this video was made known to the school administration, and Jared was immediately removed from attending classes there. However, the school did extend him an olive branch. They informed the angry young man that if he received sufficient psychiatric care, then he would be allowed to return to school. This, of course, never took place, and Jared only continued his downward spiral. As Jared's anger only continued to grow, the young man decided to create one final YouTube channel, with this one being called Class It Up 10. Upon this channel, Jared would post some of his most bizarre videos yet. They were simply made with just text on a screen of Jared ranting about his problems with society. Throughout these videos, Jared's delusions would only increase in severity. For instance, he believed that he could control people's mind, and that he even invented his own currency. And these rambling videos would continue to be posted right up until the very end. On January 8th of the year 2011, Jared checked into a local motel room. Once inside the room, Jared would upload some rather alarming photos. One photo, uploaded to his MySpace page, was of a handgun resting atop some sort of textbook. The other photos were rather lewd in nature and focused on Jared himself wearing various women's underwear. These images were accompanied by the text, quote, "Dear friends, please don't be mad at me. The literacy rate is below 5%. I haven't talked to one person who is literate." Following this, Jared would go pay a visit to an old friend. You see, Senator Gabrielle Giffords was again holding that very same event which Jared attended years earlier. Only this time, he wasn't coming to ask a question. As the senator was speaking with her constituents about their various concerns, Jared skipped the line and approached. The whole event would be over in less than 15 seconds. Jared pulled out his pistol and opened fire. His first shot struck the senator right between the eyes, but Jared wasn't done. He then turned his gun upon the innocent bystanders, firing indiscriminately into the crowd. In total, 13 people would be hit before Jared was finally wrestled to the ground. Tragically, of the 13 victims, 6 would go on to lose their lives. Shockingly, however, Gabrielle Giffords was not among them. Miraculously, not only did the senator manage to survive the heinous attack, she has since gone on to make a remarkable recovery. For his part, Jared will spend the rest of his life in prison. As well he should. His channels, however, are still out there, and they remain an illuminating look into a crumbling and diseased mind.
Olive Crest serves children whose lives have been shattered by abuse and neglect. At Olive Crest, we know what makes a difference in a child's life to help them overcome the devastation they have endured. Family. We believe the family is the key healing agent for our children.
Back in June of the year 2012, a family YouTube channel called Fantastic Adventures posted their very first video. This channel posted content for children and families, usually in the form of humorous sketches. The family behind this channel boasted a whopping 7 different children, all of which were featured in their videos. The channel was run by these children's adopted mother, a woman named Michelle Hackney Hobson. Michelle was a one-woman YouTube team. She handled all of the writing, editing, and posting. However, she wasn't completely without help. Her 2 eldest sons chipped in as well. And the content itself wasn't anything out of the ordinary for a YouTube family channel at that time. Back in 2012, this genre of content was incredibly popular on the platform, and Fantastic Adventures proved to be no different. It wasn't long before the family had accumulated over 800,000 subscribers, and their videos were routinely pulling in millions of views. Can't lie, I'm a bit jealous. I'm lucky to hit 200 views. But anyway, suffice it to say, this was a very popular channel, both with children and their parents. However, the people watching these videos had absolutely no idea what was going on when the cameras weren't rolling. It turns out that not everyone was fooled by the family's wholesome image. In fact, many of their neighbors had been suspicious of them for quite some time. And on multiple different occasions, people from around the neighborhood had reported the mother to CPS. Obviously, this is a huge red flag. Ultimately, however, these well-meaning reports from concerned neighbors ended up fizzling out and not going anywhere. And so, Fantastic Adventures just kept operating as normal. At their peak, it's estimated that the family was bringing in something like $3 million a year with their videos. As far as the public were concerned, they were living the American dream. However, in March of the year 2018, this would all change. The eldest daughter, Megan, who no longer resided in the family home, began noticing some concerning issues with the younger children. Whenever Megan was visiting, she began to realize that some of the kids were showing classic signs of abuse, and Megan was concerned enough that she ended up calling the authorities and reporting what she thought might be taking place. Little did she know just how right she turned out to actually be. Due to all of these different reports, the authorities decided to perform a welfare check on the family home, and it wasn't a second too soon. This welfare check would reveal exactly what these poor children were going through. It turns out, of course, that these kids were being forced into making these YouTube videos, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, the children had actually been removed from attending school, just so they would have more time to create YouTube videos. And if a child chose not to participate in this, then they would be beaten by Michelle with a variety of household objects. They would also receive this exact same treatment if they had the audacity to misspeak or mess up one of their lines. Truly appalling stuff. However, the abuse goes far beyond just that. When the children were finally rescued by the authorities, investigators found them to be extremely underfed and malnourished. It seems that withholding food was a common punishment in the household, but still, it doesn't stop there. One of the children was found wearing a diaper while locked inside of a tiny, dark closet. In fact, authorities discovered a closet that had a lock on the outside, which allowed Michelle to lock the children in for extended periods of time. This barbaric punishment would sometimes continue for multiple days, without the children being given a single shred of anything to eat or drink the entire time. And these punishments were most often broken out when the children dared to show any reluctance to the filming process. But unfortunately, this still wasn't everything. On occasion, the children would be forced to take ice baths, with Michelle even going so far as to hold their heads underwater whenever she felt like it. A few of the male children even informed the police that their adoptive mother would often grab their private parts and squeeze. If you're a guy watching this, then you know exactly just how unpleasant that sounds. And yet, as horrific as that is, it somehow still wasn't the worst of it. Within the home, Michelle kept several cans of pepper spray, and whenever the children would misbehave, at least in her mind, she would spray them mercilessly. This wasn't a quick little squirt either. The woman would literally cover her kids' entire bodies in this toxic spray. One of the younger girls reported to police that Michelle had even sprayed down her genital area on more than one occasion. And all the while, Michelle was raking in a ton of money off the backs of these essentially enslaved children. Luckily, not long after news of these atrocities broke, YouTube terminated the Fantastic Adventures family channel. Infuriatingly though, for her part, Michelle Hobson would never face any real justice, as she passed away from a brain hemorrhage not too long after being arrested. Many people have problems with so-called family channels here on YouTube. They feel that at best, they're highly exploitative, and at worst, downright abusive. Well, that was certainly the case with this story, which makes the Fantastic Adventures family channel one of the very darkest in YouTube history.